Hey there, 2022 Skeleton Key here. As you can tell by the non-purple hair, we will be shortly going back to Purple Hair Stina in 2021. And this is my April 2021 TBR video. Enjoy. Hey there, Skeleton Key here, and welcome to my April TBR. One thing that I started doing last month, and I'm continuing it because it does seem to be working pretty well. I say working pretty well for me, but I don't know really what that means. I have decided to be better about finishing library books in a more timely manner. I don't know that I can explain this properly, but anyway, I'm trying to read more library books, which is not helping my Mount TBR challenge at all, but I'm trying to be more conscious of my library reads and actually finishing them or DNFing them. I that's another thing I'm doing is I am making more of an effort to identify if a book is just not working for me and should I DNF it. And I think I'm getting better at that, which should help increase my overall happiness with the books I do read and review. As a result of some of these policy shifts, I guess, I have a lot of books already on my April TBR, and I'll show you the whole bunch later. But as for randomizing, I have only 3 challenges that I'm going to have to randomize books for. So, let's go do that, shall we? Okay, so first up, I have my sync downloads that I'm prioritizing. And I think I've already explained somewhere else that I'm prioritizing my downloads from 2019. That's because I downloaded those using the Overdrive app, and Overdrive is focusing, I guess, on Libby and Sora now, and they will be, or so I've heard. I don't know if deactivating is really the right word. They're going to quit supporting the Overdrive app. So I need to read those fast. I have 24 books left on that. I already have The Golden Day on my TBR, and I already have The Name of the Star on my TBR for April. I need to listen to 6 of these, though, in April. So that means I need to randomize 4 books out of the remaining 22. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to split the list of 22 books into 2 groups of 11 each. And I'm going to roll a d10 for each half and also a d4. And the d4 is going to be, if I roll an odd number on the d4, I add a 1. If I roll an even number, I don't add a 1. So the blue sparkly dice will be for the first half of the list, and the purple dice will be for the second half of the list. Okay, so my blue sparkly dice, even, so I do not add a 1 to the 7. And that is a book called A Night Divided. And I think that is set in Berlin. And I think it is a Cold War setting. And it's a YA book. Now, for the purple, the second group, I got an odd. So I do add a 1 to the 8. And so that is 9. And that is something called Kids of Appetite. I remember reading the description and thinking, well, that doesn't really explain that cover. So I will have to look at that again. And now I'm down to 10 books in each section. So I'll just roll 2d10s. Again, blue sparkly is the first grouping, and purple is the second grouping. Blue sparkly is 6, and purple is 5. So that gets me something called You, Y-O-U. And I'm pretty sure it's not the Carol Katniss book. I gather that's a pretty adult book. I actually don't know much about that one either. And then from the second section, I get The Canterville Ghost, which is a 19th century ghost story, haunted house story. I don't know about you, but the Canterville Ghost sounds like fun. Okay, so now we're looking at the Sirens 2021 challenge. I'm already reading Gideon the Ninth and The Mare Wife, so I need to roll for 2 more titles. I have 19 books to choose from. So I'm going to roll 2 d20s, and if I roll a 20, I roll again, and let's just hope they give me different numbers. So here I've got my 2 d20s. What is that? 2 and 8. So that gets me The Lost Coast, which I think I can get from the library, and Eloquent Rage, which I believe is a nonfiction title. All right, so on to the 2020 Sirens Challenge that I never finished. I have 9 books left on that list, and I need 2 of them. So I'm going to try that same thing. I'm going to roll a d10. If I roll a 10, then I roll again. And I don't know. If they come up with the same number, I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. So here are my 2 d10s. What do we got? 2 and 3. That gets me Jade City, which I not only own, I have started on that. So I should finish it, right? And I am enjoying it. I am liking it, so I don't know why it's been such a tough one for me to finish. And it's about 500 pages, so that might have something to do with it, but anyway. The 3 got me Searching for Sycorax. And that is a book that I do own, and that, I believe, is nonfiction. I think it's a collection of essays. Okay, so now we come to Farinay's Habitica challenges. So the modest reading challenge I'm doing fine on. I've got, let's see, a book with a direction in the title. I've got The Sundown Motel already on my TBR. That's all I need for the modest reading challenge. Then the formidable reading challenge, I can count The Sundown Motel towards that. And then, I also have A Book You Think Will Help You Be a Better Person, How to Be an Anti-Racist. So I've got the formidable challenge covered, but I need to read 4 books for the ultimate reading challenge. I can count How to Be an Anti-Racist for that. I already have Beowulf in parallel texts on my TBR. So, and that is for a book originally written in an endangered or now extinct language. So that has the actual Old English along with the modern English translation. So that left me needing 2 prompts out of 27. And that was 27 was an unwieldy number to randomize, at least with dice. So what I did is I went through the list and I picked out the 20 prompts that I can actually fulfill without borrowing another physical library book. Because there are some on here that I like. One is A Book from the Sir Julius Vogel Award long list from any year. I have none of those, and I looked up several on Hoopla. They're not there. So I will have to do some more investigating and probably order something from another library. or buy something. So I picked out the 20 most accessible prompts for me right now. And so I need 2. So I'm going to do that thing where I roll 2 d20s and hope that I don't get the same number. 4 and 16. Okay, so that gets me Blackout by Ragnar Jónasson, who is Icelandic. And the prompt is a book by an author from a country with a modern population below 1 million. So Iceland. And I've read the first book in that series. And I can't remember what the series is called, like Dark Iceland or something like that. The publication order is because they're translated into English, and they haven't been translated in the correct order. So I think the American publisher does not consider Blackout the second book in the series, if I recall correctly. I'll take a look into that. But Blackout is available via Hoopla, so I can get that. And then the other prompt I got was a book you read in spite or because of negative reviews. There are quite a few I could choose from for this, but Fairney does add a little note. They say, I encourage you not to support known problematic or harmful authors while you're doing this one. Go for funny bad, not cringy bad. So, alright, I won't be reading Atlas Shrugged for this one. I'm thinking maybe In the Woods by Tana, I think that's Tana French, right? Dublin Murder Squad. It's the first one, and I started it, and I was really digging it. I have had so many people tell me, though, that they hated the ending. I sometimes do really well with ambiguous endings, so if that's... And of course, they don't want to spoil it for me, so they don't tell me exactly what they hated about the ending, other than, well, some people have mentioned that, well, it just ends, which, you know... Sometimes I can deal with that really well. So I definitely want to finish reading that one and make up my own mind. I do think that fits the spirit of Fairney's prompt here. So let's see what I've got going on my TBR, which is long. It's not as long as last month's, though, I don't think. But first, I'm experimenting with panna cotta again. This time, I'm using a recipe from Vincenzo's Plate, and I'll put the link down below. And he doesn't use any milk or half and half or anything like that I usually see in other recipes. And so I decided to try his that's only cream. It's a very simple recipe, so and this is without any sauce. He in his video, he shows how to make a strawberry sauce. I did not do that. I made a different sauce. We'll try that here in a bit. But let's just see how this worked. That's pretty good. That's very... And this is just plain vanilla. He said to use 5 grams of gelatin, and he showed it in sheets. I've never seen it in sheets in the stores here. So I used a little packet of powder, and it was 6 grams. And I think that might have been too much because this is really a lot more solid than I think it really should be. So, note to self, 5 grams means 5 grams. Yeah, somehow I don't think it's supposed to do that. Let's take a look at the ebooks. First up is Kushiel's Dart by Jacqueline Carey. That is the first in a trilogy, Phaedra's trilogy, and then there's like trilogies of trilogies, I think, and it's a big old long series, and I started it once before. This is for LHR Society, and we were going to read it last spring, and then, of course, everything went on hiatus, and so now we're finally getting back to that. It's almost 1,000 pages long, and I started it, and this writing style is very, there's a lot of skill on display in this writing style. I am not disputing that. But it is so overblown for my taste, and I don't think I can read 900 and some pages of this. I will try. And yeah, that's coming up. That meeting is coming up pretty quick, so I'm not going to finish it by meeting time. And we'll see. In the meeting, sometimes at book club meetings, people convince me to press on and to persevere, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm not optimistic about this book's chances with me, but we'll see. And then next is Beowulf in Parallel Texts, and I've talked about that a little bit already. I obviously did not finish it in time for my Book Snobs book club in March. So this is a side-by-side translation. Looks like Sung-Il Lee is who did this translation into modern English. I forgot to look at the publication date on this. I'm not sure how old this translation is, but it's side by side. Well, I have it on Hoopla, so it's not actually side by side, but it is, it goes back and forth between the Old English and the Modern English. I'm going to keep working on it. I'm not really understanding much of it, but then I will kind of go. It's taking a long time because I am kind of scrolling back and looking at the Old English text and then trying to pick out what I can recognize in the Modern English. And it is an interesting exercise. So then next we've got Flowers of Mold by Ha Seong-nan, who is a South Korean author. And this is, of course, translated into English. And it's a collection of short stories. And this is for the Fucked Up Book Club. And these are really intense, fucked up stories. So I didn't get all of them read in time for that book club in March. I do want to finish this collection. I really like the stories. I just can't read them. I just can't sit down and read this straight through. I read 2 stories in a row, and that was a bit much. So I think this is one of those every few days read a story and then read something else. Next is Complicit by Amy Rivers. And I got this as a NetGalley ARC, digital ARC. She wrote Broken People that I gushed about a while back. And so, yeah, I'm definitely wanting to read another book by Amy Rivers. And then I've got some other NetGalley ARCs on the list. And, so I have a whole separate video just for NetGalley ARCs and how I am progressing or not progressing, as the case may be. And then Le Comte de Monte Cristo. Yeah, I'm still working on that. I need to figure out a way to motivate myself to keep picking that one up on a regular basis. It's like I'll pick it up and I'll read some and it's going well, but then I get distracted. Oh, I've got to read this for a book club, and then I just totally get off the whole French thing. And so I need to set up a schedule or something for myself, I think. Jade City by Fonda Lee. I'm reading that for Sirens, and that was one of my randomized picks, so that counts for Genreland this month. Oh yeah, by the way, Genreland, the theme is a book picked at random. So I've got several of those on this list, and Jade City is one of them. And that's another one that I've started and really want to get back to. So for the sauce, and you can see it's just a really thin layer on top, I did a white wine reduction with roasted garlic, because I love me some roasted garlic, and French thyme, a little bit of ginger, and then I put some, and a lot of sugar, and then I put some crystallized ginger on top. Alright, so now let's get to my audiobooks for April. First up is The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. That is one of my sync downloads from 2019. It's a supernatural mystery. Our protagonist is a young woman from Louisiana, and she is a student for the year at a private school in London, and she's at this boarding school where, in this part of London where Jack the Ripper actually committed his murders back in the 19th century. You know, as she's a new student there is a new Jack the Ripper who has now started killing people in this part of London. This guy is not normal. There are definitely supernatural elements. So, second on the list is Red Country by Joe Abercrombie, and that is for the Strange Worlds Book Club. And full disclosure, I've already decided I'm not going to read it. It's like the 5th or 6th book in a series. I have the first book in the series. I have not read it. And other book club members have already noped out because this book does a lot of things that they don't like, and I'm not sure I want to read this. I'm not even sure I want to read the first book in the series, but I do have the first book in the series, so if I'm going to read anything, I will read that one. Then next is Ordinary Girls by Jakira Diaz, and that is a memoir, and that is for Old Town Book Club, which conflicts this month with Traps and Trench Coats. So I'm going to try to be at 2 places at once, I guess. I don't know how I'm going to work that. Because I want to go to... Because I've already read the book for Traps and Trench Coats this month. And that's Blood on the Tracks by Barb Nicholas. So I want to go to that. I have downloaded Ordinary Girls from the library via Hoopla. And I've already started listening to that. And it is keeping my attention very well. It's very interesting. So I actually want to go to both of those book clubs. And Old Town Book Club is the one that half the meetings conflict with something, because, yeah, they don't start at exactly the same time. So maybe I can kind of fudge it and go to both. The next is The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. And that one, I've never read anything by Tessa Dare, but that's the first in the Girl Meets Duke series, and it seems to be one of her most popular titles. So for the year of readathons that Leanne at Literary Diversions is doing, that is my Tessa Dare pick for this month. Then next, also a pick for that is The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. And that is about Jack the Ripper's victims and their lives. You know, how last month I was like on a major Beowulf kick that is bleeding over into this month. So maybe this month will start me on a Jack the Ripper kick. I don't know. Next is The Golden Day by Ursula Dubosarsky. That's also a pick for that challenge. it is set in Australia, so that's that pick. Then Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Ware. And I'm steadily making progress on this. It is going much better for me. I've got, I've had the hard copy for a while, and I was really struggling with just the hard copy, but listening to it in addition to reading the text, and I've even got to the point where I can just listen to huge chunks at a time, and then maybe flip through the text to shore up my understanding of what I listened to. So that's working out really well. How Beautiful We Were by Imbolo Imboy. I'm guessing on the pronunciation. I got this from the library. I don't have it for much longer, and I cannot renew it because apparently this is a very popular author and a very popular brand new title. I'm going to go ahead and buy the audiobook, in part because I'm really interested in hearing how names are pronounced, not just the author's name, which would be nice. But this is set in Africa, in the fictional African village of Kusawa. This author is from Cameroon. And then next are some more of the Overdrive sync downloads. So we've got You by Charles Benoit. I think that's a psychological thriller of some sort. Then A Night Divided by Jennifer A. Nielsen. That is a YA book set in a divided Berlin. The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde, and that is a 19th century haunted house story. And Kids of Appetite by David Arnold. And I've read the description numerous times, and it just has not stuck in my brain. So I have a feeling I'm going to just have to listen to that one and see if it's more memorable than its description. Then Eloquent Rage, which is by Brittany Cooper. I believe it's nonfiction about intersectional feminism. And then A Pairing to Die For by Kate Lansing. That is for one of my Sisters in Crime book clubs. And I actually have the paperback on order, but I don't think it's gonna get here in time for me to read it before book club. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy the audiobook. And that's in the Colorado Winery series. And then I've got several more that I have not yet sourced, but let's see. Coming Up for Air by, I think, Sarah Leipziger. That's apparently a very common title. But I'm pretty sure Sarah Leipziger is the name of the author on that. I don't really remember what that's about, but that is for my neighborhood book club this month, and it is available through Hoopla Audio. And then Blackout and Ragnar Jonasson is an Icelandic author. I think that's it for audiobooks. So now I need to go round up all my print books. So now we arrive at my physical TBR for April. Okay, this is the top of the stack, and I still have a couple that a few that I haven't sourced yet. And already the stack is this high. This is scary. Alright, I'm probably not going to say a whole lot about these because there's a lot of them. The Gauntlet, which I don't think I'm at my maximum renewals on this one. It's a library book. I got it for several reasons. But steampunky middle grade adventure, hold over from my Beowulf obsession. The Marewife, which is a modern day retelling by Maria Devana Headley, and Beowulf, a new translation by Maria Devana Headley. Wrapping up my Beowulf kick there. And this I've had from the library for a while. How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. And this one I have through Prospector. I had to reborrow it because Prospector only gives you like one renewal. So this is from another library. This is a different edition of My Name is Aram by William Soroyan. So that one will actually probably take priority over most of those. This is for one of my Sisters in Crime book clubs. This is Finding Alex by Helen Starbuck. A riveting thriller and a gripping love story with compelling characters and a suspenseful plot. This is a murder mystery you won't want to miss. That's from Chick Lit Cafe Reviews. I might not get to this month because the meeting time for this book club is the same as my appointment for my second dose of Moderna. So, yeah, I probably won't make that book club, but I'm not upset about that because, yay, vaccination. Another Sisters in Crime book club book is Mile High Mayhem. Mile High Mayhem is by Jodie Burnett. That is actually fourth in a series. I don't like reading them out of order, but I went ahead and I know I won't have time to read the preceding 3 books, so I've gone ahead and ordered Mile High Mayhem, and it is in the FBI Canine series. The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I'm really excited to get to this one. This is for the High Tea Book Club. I've seen a lot of booktubers talking about this, and it just sounds nice and spooky and so good for really good for spring into horror. So that is 2. So we've got 2 on the secret TBR. And then Glass Forest by Cynthia Swanson. This was a Sisters in Crime book club read that I didn't get finished, but is really interesting. So I want to finish it. And this one goes back to Historathon. This is one I checked out for that. And I haven't even started on this one. I think it's a World War II story. This is Berserker by Emmy Laybourne. And this was for Strange Worlds. And it's YA Viking Berserker. So it's about a teenage girl who is a berserker. And she immigrates to America and much wackiness ensues. Will save the galaxy for food. And this is for the Book Was Better book club, even though it's, we're not doing the whole movie thing right now. I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll get back to that at some point, but this looks interesting. It's a satirical sci-fi adventure. Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford. That's kind of a bizarre looking cover. Are you surprised that this is for the Fucked Up book club? I don't really know anything about it. What is it? Ada and her father, touched by the power to heal illness, live on the edge of a village where they help sick locals, or cures, by cracking open their damaged bodies or temporarily burying them in the reviving, dangerous ground nearby. That sounds bizarre and weird and might be kind of cool. And it's not that long. How long is this? Oh, it's only about 200 pages long. For Literally Dead book club, let's see, Every Vow You Break by, is that Peter Swanson? I think it is. It's apparently a pretty new release, and I have it on request. I have no idea if I will actually get it in time to read it for book club. The Brave, which I started for Middle Grade March. It's by James Bird. I am enjoying it. I have a feeling I'm going to have some quibbles about some things, but we'll get to that later. Gideon the Ninth, which I've talked about quite a bit already. And I love those frayed edges. And I'm running out of room there. I will try to reconfigure that later. Secret TBR. Dahlia's Tarot. This is a big old box. It's got a deck and a book, and yeah. My Life as a Villainess. The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. Yeah, we're getting into the territory of why haven't you read this yet? More secret TBRs. Searching for Sycorax. This is, let's see, is it a collection of essays? So this is one book by Kenitra D. Brooks. And the subtitle is Black Women's Hauntings of Contemporary Horror. It seems like it's going to be a little on the academic side, which we'll see how I do with that. But I have been reading more horror lately, and and a lot of it written by Black women. In the Woods by Tana French. This is the one that I got always into it because I wanted to read it before reading The Likeness for a book club, but I was like, I do not have time to read both of those, so I switched over to The Likeness, and I did finish The Likeness in time for the book club, but I never have gotten back to In the Woods. Then I did get The Lost Coast by Amy Rose Capetta from the library. This is for the Sirens reading challenge. I think this counts for both the 2020 and the 2021 challenges. So if you're following my Random Penguins astrological adventure, you know that A Swim in a Pond in the Rain is on my reading list. I had skipped ahead to How Beautiful We Were, and I do already have that one on audiobook, but this one came available in the library, from the library, so I went in and grabbed this. And again, this is a recent release that I'm going to have to get back to the library pretty quick. I'm not going to be able to renew it, so I will have to prioritize this ahead of my audiobook of How Beautiful We Were. I never can remember that title, How Beautiful We Were. So. And then I've got a few other books that I have not sourced yet. Act Your Age, Eve Brown, I would really like to get to this month, but again, I've got that on hold with Libby. I don't know if I'll actually see that one this month. Alright, let's see if I can get this to actually fit. It's not going to fit. It fit better than I thought it would. So I've got a bunch of them here. And then these are the ones that I'm going to go ahead and take upstairs to prioritize. So again, I have not counted. I do not know how many books I have on my TBR for April, but there's a bunch of them. Let me know your thoughts on my craziness and the books that I am hoping to at least make progress on. And I'm sure I will finish some of them. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you around. So back to 2022. And yeah, I need to make myself some panna cotta. I have not had panna cotta in a while. And that sounded really good right now. So that was an interesting little trip to the, I don't know, I think what we thought was going to be the end of the pandemic didn't turn out that way. A lot of things in that video did not turn out as expected. And yeah, I still have some of those books on my TBR. So you've probably noticed that I am not doing a Time Travel Tuesday every Tuesday. And for several reasons, I'm thinking of actually limiting it to 2 Time Travel Tuesdays a month. I know I am entertained by these little visits to the past and kind of cleaning up some recordings that I made and never posted. And I don't know if you feel the same way. I don't know if these are interesting to you. So I'm trying to make them a little sporadic. Yeah, time travel's confusing, y'all. Maybe that's why I've never written a time travel story. I should write a time travel story. Oh dear. Yeah, let's just leave that at that. See you around.